All right, I know I'm running way behind. Just got in with my daughter, just got in from a doctor's appointment. So we are going to start with a break and then we will pick this up where it's supposed to be during the show. I'll get Victor Locke to help me and all kinds of good stuff are going to happen. So again, sorry we're late. It's 23 minutes after the hour. We'll pause and I'll get some final things straightened out, and then we'll come back. We'll get everything started, and we'll take you the rest of the way. Back after this.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition,
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze car.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color of crayon they get, they palm it and do two circles, and that translates to, I can beat up black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby!
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Peckham's. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition,
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze car.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color of crayon they get, they palm it and do two circles, and that translates to, I can beat up black people.
As she takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific Time Zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pistol 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Again, sorry for the very, very late start. Just getting in from running my morning errands, as well as getting my daughter home, getting to and from the doctor, the wound clinic, and just all kinds of stuff going on. And I want to thank you guys for being so patient with me on days like this where I know I'm going to run late. What's going to happen is that what's going to happen is I can't breathe. What's going to happen is I'm going to find someone to sit in for me and with me on days like this where I am running late. 29 after the hour, base will come your way in hour 2. Phew, I'm finally home. It's been a runaround morning, to say the least. So in lieu of everything that's going on, we're just gonna have a short show today because I still have a lot of things to do. Here's Victor Locke. He's joining me right now. Victor, how you doing, man?
What is going on, Mr. Snowman? How are you?
You ever run around so much you forget where you start?
Yep.
Yeah, that would be me.
That's called Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening when I have to go back in the office.
For me, it's called every visit to the wound clinic to have them look at my legs.
That too.
Which are healing very, very good.
Very good.
They're healing fine. And I am going to probably make Cole yell at me and somewhat be angry with me at the same time, but I'm going to make an executive decision and save some of these segments for Monday, especially with the wild card weekend, because we got to get through our wild card picks, and we got someone standing by as well. And while While I'm doing all of that, hey, sports bettors, listen up. Your favorite sports book, BetUS.com, is back and in their 30th year of action. They have live in-game betting, incredible odds, daily odds boosters, props, and parlays, fast payouts, and exceptional one-to-one customer service. BetUS.com has it all. And when you sign up and use the code Snowman, you'll get a 125% deposit match. Log on to betus.com or call 800-792-3887. That's 800-79-BET-US. BetUS.com, where the game begins. Oh, this day has been crazy.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, it has, and it's just a lot of running around.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of running around. Had to wait forever for the doctor to see me, and because he didn't get in, we were scheduled at 8:30. He didn't get in till 9.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at the thumbnail that Cole put together, and we'll discuss this. There's Mayo in New England. Jerod Mayo is now the head coach of the New England Patriots. Let's launch right in. Your thoughts, Victor?
Well, good luck to him. That's probably the only thing I can say right now, because they have to do a complete sweep. They do a clean sweep with New England. It's not just Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
Since Brady left, that thing has gone down the tube so badly.
Mm-hmm.
When you have Cam Newton, and all things about Cam Newton aside, still was one of the more athletic quarterbacks in the NFL.
Yeah.
could still run, was a downhill runner. Wasn't the best passer, but still could make things go on with his legs. When you don't allow Cam Newton to run the football, which he is famous for doing, that's an issue that goes far beyond just Belichick. That's offensive coordinator. That could even be general manager not thinking that he has the right weapons in terms of receivers or offensive line.
Yep. We wanted to touch that really quick. We'll extend it throughout the course of the weekend. I'm planning to get Mike Debate on a little later, but we're going to make this very very short because there's a couple of stories here that I want to hit, but we're not going to do this alone.
Oh,
we can't do this alone. Why? This man.
And now, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bay.
I figure if we're going to have some fun, we may as well do it the right way. Chris Bass now joins us. Good morning, my friend. Great to have you.
Good morning. Good morning. Of course, good morning to you. Good morning to V. I can't see his face, but I guess he's there. I know that's Victor. I know. What's up, Victor? Good morning to you. Of course, good morning to Cole, the mad scientist. Of course, shout out to Wise El Jefe, and to all the boys and the girls in the comment section. Good morning and happy boom shakalaka to you. And before I begin, you threw me off, Rayman, because you said we're going to join Chris Bass in the second hour.
Yeah, that's I've been thrown off this morning with all the running around I had to do.
Okay.
Because of the extended doctor's visit. And then it's like at the last second, I decided, you know what, let's make an executive decision. Let's bring him on now. Let's just wrap everything into one nice, neat package, and just go from there. All right, Bass, what you got for us?
Well, pretty much, let me dovetail what you guys was talking about the hiring of Jerod Mayo as the new head coach of the Patriots. It's like Victor said, you got to have a whole new dichotomy of this whole thing. And it's always interesting because over the years, when I see people succeed, very successful people, whether it's in show business or in sports, whatever, they always tell me, I don't want to come behind that person. Let me come behind the person who comes behind them.
Right.
And then that way there's some time where it's elapsed and you don't feel like you've getting in the shoes of a Bill Belichick. But again, the adage always becomes, I was told, those shoes belong to that person. You start your own new pair and start your own walk and new journey. So for someone who came up in the system like Mayo, for someone who's been the coach, working with the linebackers and played for Bill Belichick and everything else. So he's been under the master. So I'm happy for him, but I don't envy the job because when someone like that is like the GOAT and still has a lot to offer, because we don't know where he might go after his parting with Robert Kraft. He still might be competitive somewhere else, but I'm all pro. I'm not anti anybody else. I'm pro my own. To see him being groomed in the position to become the next head coach, I wish him the best, but like anything else, it's going to be an interesting journey, to say the very least, to continue the winning flavor that the Patriots once had.
And it's going to take, like Victor said, a clean sweep, and it's going to take a complete rebuild. And I want to say that's one of the things that drove Belichick away, because except for his first year, a la Nick Saban, he's been competitive and winning division titles and conference championships his entire 24-year career. But I go to the last pass thrown by Tom Brady, which wound up being a pick six. And I want to ask you guys, do you think, and that was in 2019 against Tennessee in the wild card round, Do you think that signaled the end of the Belichick run? Seeing that happen?
Not to him.
Go on, Victor.
Not to him. I mean, there was always this big argument on who created who. Did Tom Brady create Bill Belichick, or did Bill Belichick create Tom Brady? I think now that Tom Brady is retired and he even had a Super Bowl after he went to the Bucks, I think that kind of speaks for itself, because I haven't seen Bill Belichick get that same success since the Tom Brady era. True. But I don't know if I can say that if it signaled the beginning and the end. I think it just signaled that there was a crack in the armor.
There was a big crack in the armor after Tom Brady had left. Base, your thoughts?
I don't think it was that. I think what the beginning of the end was when Belichick brought in Jimmy Garoppolo, and he wanted to groom him to take Tom Brady's place. But Brady was like, wait a minute, I'm still in my prime.
Right.
Type of thing. And I think because of that situation, according to the scenario he went to, Robert Kraft said, look, either he goes or I go, pretty much, because that's a foul move. He shouldn't be doing that. And I think that started animosity between the two men. There were probably some animosity before, not privy to, but I think that was it for me. And then you go from that timeline on, there you go. I think that, again, it's one of those things, any relationship, professional or personal, when two people split up or people split up, I can be successful without you. I can do this without you. We did it together, but I more so could do without you. And that could be said of any relationship. Again, even go back to basketball and we look at Kobe and Shaq or anybody else from the Lakers and on other situations. We go apart, go your way, I go my way, but I can win without you. And so, as Victor just said, we've seen what again Tom Brady did to go to Tampa Bay in 1 year. 1 year and got a ring. So it does give the zero factor again to Belichick, because Belichick's formula should have worked with any quarterback. But I do believe that going back to that move with trying to put in Garoppolo too early was the beginning of the end for me.
You bring up a great point with Garoppolo being groomed to take over for Tom Brady, and you could see the cracks in the armor. Then the floodgates started to happen. Even though they won more Super Bowls, it didn't seem as comfortable as they did before. With the Garoppolo situation, that just kind of cracked every part of the foundation. And of course, we all know how it ended. Jerod Mayo now has to clean up that in any way, considering the quarterback situation. Not only does he have to clean up that mess, he has to clean up the mess that Belichick left behind. And there was some animosity with some of the players with Belichick, including Tom Brady.
Yeah, you split the locker room.
Yes.
And a locker room is a brotherhood, sisterhood, depending on what sport you play, depending on who's playing. You need that family unit, but not every family gets along or sees everything eye to eye. And that's the issue with that. So you split the locker room, leniencies to people in there, whether it was people for pro Tom or pro Belichick. That's what happens sometimes. And I think that it could be obviously a detriment to the team, because not everybody has the same mission statement.
Right.
And that's when you start to see people going in various directions.
That is a great, great line. Not everyone has the same mission statement. And not only did we see it with Bill Belichick and the Patriots, we also began to see part of it with Nick Saban in Alabama, even though he kept winning and Alabama kept winning. But just look at this year. It had to take a Herculean effort for them to knock off Georgia and keep Georgia out of the playoff. And it took a Herculean effort to lead Michigan, the eventual national champions, as long as they did. But Michigan came back in a short amount of time and won. And the prevailing thought is that, I'll echo something Deion Sanders said, college football has changed so much, it chased Nick Saban away. Let me start with you, Base. Do you agree with that statement?
Oh, yes. For someone like Nick Saban, who's completely old school, and the old school worked, got him 6 chips, one, of course, with LSU, The man, of course, is the GOAT. So we got that.
Yep.
Being the GOAT comes with GOAT mentality. And so that's really you talked about. It comes with GOAT mentality. So he was one of the first coaches to come out and say, I do not like the NIL.
Right.
I'm not for it.
Right.
And so that again splits the locker room. That again, depending you play for him or not, it's like, look, the college universities has made more money than they could shake a stick at off these athletes. So now the athletes want to get a piece, all of a sudden you're crying foul. I'm all for NIL. Do what you got to do because not all these players are going to go professional.
Exactly.
So let them get the money while they can, whether it's locally or national spots. Let them make their money and then let them go from there. A lot of these young athletes have agents now and have representation. So let them do their thing. So I think that because of that and other things, dealing, of course, with recruiting and things of that nature, I think Nick was like, look, man, I've done what I can. And let's not overlook the fact that this team, Alabama team, wasn't as sexy than the other teams he had before.
Right.
So he was able to take that team and then make it work. And I figured, you know what? Some people know when it's time to walk. And I think Saban was like, you know what? I can't deal with I'm not really for the NIL. Everything's changing, and maybe it's changing for a point where maybe it's time for me to step away. And that's, I think, what he did exactly.
I'll look at two other coaches in a different sport that saw this coming 3 years ago, and within a year of each other, they retired. Roy Williams at North Carolina and Mike Krzyzewski at Duke. When the NIL started rumbling, those two saw the handwriting on the wall and got the hell out as fast as they could. Because as you said, Base, the old school mentality in college sports now is gone. I mean, I'm all for the students making their money because, as you said, and Victor, as you've said before, and many others, not all of them are going to go pro. Not all of them are going to go to Europe either to make their money. So if they have a chance to do it now, do it now. The problem is there were not many regulations put in place. And at the same time, from what I've been told, there were not many coaches warned that this kind of paradigm shift would happen, and it would, in essence, wreck the foundation of college sports from the standpoint of, as you said, Base, they've been making money hand over fist for years. SMU, hello, with the Pony Express. Now the kids want a piece of it, and the coaches don't know how to act. But more importantly, the administration doesn't know how to act.
And they're making so much money, you're not going to miss it.
No,
that's what gets
really
me.
not.
You're not going to miss it. Let them make what they can. As I said before, overtime and other programs. If you want to try to get a grip on this thing, go on and pay the players, and then have to take a mandatory class in market managing your money and things like that. So that way they'll know. That way it will make sense from an educational standpoint with these student athletes how to manage their money, because they'll get this money and they'll blow it on whatever, and all of a sudden they're broke again. If you instill a mandatory class, and then let's talk about money managing and 401k plans and stuff like that, make them take that class along with the stipend, then I think everybody will be happy. But the people in these universities and colleges have become so greedy, they do not want to share nothing. Like I said before, I can say you're going to miss it, but you ain't going to miss it. You're not going to miss it at all. So that's what gets me with some of these college coaches and administrators. They don't want you to have nothing.
Right.
This belongs to us, and damn the students, let them keep on, working and working, because it's a job to a degree. You're working and working. Even going back to the whole documentary about the Fab Five. Chris Webber, is there on the University of Michigan, and he sees a jersey that he can't even afford that has his number on it.
Right.
That has his name on the back.
And Mr. Bass took the thought right out of my head. It's one, greed, but also, Snowman, what have we talked about when it came to Michael Jordan? What was one of the things he majored in? Math and business.
Not only math and business, but sports journalism. He took a couple of Michael Jordan started a trend, I think, that should have continued with a lot of these athletes. He took a sports journalism class because I think he knew back in '82, I'm going to be talking to a lot of people.
Yeah. And you don't want to make a mistake when you're talking to a lot of people, because one misspoken word or one misplaced word can really change the favor that you used to have to being disfavor.
And on top of that, he was drafted to a city, third largest city in America, in Chicago.
Yeah.
Now they were going to hound him like crazy. They were hounding him since the first day he arrived in Chicago in 1984.
Mm-hmm.
So to say Michael Jordan was prepared would be a horrible understatement, especially with what he has now.
It would be. And I think these schools need to take a good hard look in the mirror, because, like Mr. Bates just said, why are you so hung up on the small amount of money that you're going to be losing because it's going to go to the students who are earning it on the court or on the field?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you complaining about it? Why are you squealing like a pig under a gate for it?
You know what would be fair also, but I just mentioned the key word, fair.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up watching and loving baseball. I've had the pleasure of calling college baseball. You know how much those kids could use some of that funding to keep their programs alive?
Mm-hmm.
Because one of my good friends is Gary Reimer. One of my best friends is Gary Reimer, longtime voice of University of Northern Iowa. The year that Northern Iowa knocked off Kansas in the NCAA tournament and brought in a boatload of money to UNI, guess what? They had to cut their baseball program.
And why is that?
The administration wanted to keep it for themselves, I speculate. But I heard the tears in Gary's voice when I talked to him about it, because he's a baseball coach.
Mm-hmm.
He's a youth baseball coach. And it hurt. And it hurt me when he told me that. So not only to be fair to just the money-making student athletes, of course, I'm talking about men's basketball and football, why can't you spread the love to all of the student athletes?
Exactly.
Yeah, because you don't want to. I think it's just as simple as that. You're dealing with hypocritical, greedy bastards.
Say that again.
You really
please.
are.
Say that again, please.
I'll say it one more time for the cheap seats.
Yes.
Hypocritical, greedy bastards. And that's it. That's all. Because because they are the ones that made this into a business. The student athletes didn't have no say so in it. It's the administrators that made it into a business, and a very healthy business at that. Had it not been for the boom of cable, had not been for ESPN and Fox Sports and everything else, they wouldn't even licked the money they're getting right now.
Nope.
So you only had the three networks, of course, the CBS, NBC, and ABC, and of course some locals throughout the nation. But when cable hit, they were able to go just full steam and cut these deals, and they've been beneficial from it. When you watch these documentaries like ESPN's 30 for 30, when they did the Big East, I love the Big East. The Big East was the WWF of college basketball. I love the Big East.
It was.
Like that.
Yeah, it was.
I really look forward to. You would have some characters and coaches. You had, of course, the great John Thompson of Georgetown and Lou Kanasaka at St. John. I mean, you really had a plethora of these coaches who didn't really like each other for real.
Right.
And that made for good drama. So those days are gone. But look at the fact, though, once you've come from, they cut these deals with ESPN and other networks. And hell, SEC has its own channel.
Yeah.
Right. So don't sit there and tell me you don't want to share the revenue stream with these student athletes, because you invented the revenue stream. And just if they don't want to share it, look, it's the same person you was sitting next to back in the day. Hey man, can I share some pizza with you? Can you give me some pizza? No, I ain't giving you no goddamn pizza. No, it's the same people. They're so-called grown up.
And it's the perfect analogy, because you brought up the Big East and some of the coaches that were in the Big East at the time: Lou Carnesecca, St. John's, Georgetown's John Thompson, Jim Boeheim from Syracuse, Rick Pitino, Providence. And this is where a lot of people don't understand where Rick Pitino got his. He started at Providence and took Providence to the Final Four in 1987 in the Superdome, where he had to face one of the coaches. Where he had to face was Jerry Tarkanian. It was Rick. I don't remember who the fourth coach was, but it was Rick Pitino, Jerry Tarkanian, and Bobby Knight in that year's Final Four. And going back to them making money hand over fist, and believe me, it's hand over fist. Remember when the first Final Four was played in a stadium, not just an arena, but a stadium? It was 1982 in the Superdome, and some guy named Michael Jordan showed up.
Yeah,
and showed out. Patrick Ewing showed out. They have been making money since that night, March 29th, 1982, because when they had it in arenas, the gate was cool because you had it at places that seat 17, 18,000, Market Square Arena in Indianapolis, the Spectrum in Philadelphia, and a few other places. When they moved it to the Superdome, man, please, the money started roaring in from that night. And off and on, 2 years later, the Kingdom, Seattle. All right. And then, of course, the big upset by Louisville in Dallas. 87 back in the Superdome. 89 back in the Kingdom. When they started integrating the stadiums, the multi-purpose stadiums, and Beige, you've seen it happen. Victor, you've seen it happen. The money was flying in.
yeah.
The Final Four could fund the entire athletic season for some of these schools. Period.
It's just sad.
Mhm.
And I hate to use that word a lot, but it is. And you're going to get mad, meaning these greedy bastards. You're going to get mad at other people. Say, you know what? I work as well because you're making money off of me. I know it's a situation with these scholarships and everything else, but I want a piece.
Right.
I want a piece. I want to get paid just like any other business, and they have the nerve to cry foul. And so again, when they create and set the table, they want to dictate who sits at the table.
Right.
Yes.
Not so much as I want a piece, but also I deserve a piece. It's my body out there doing these things. It's my body out there that I'm risking because any given time, any given second of any given game, your career could go out just like that.
In a minute, especially with football. Let me say hi to a very special young lady. My daughter Samantha is tuning in this morning. Good morning, Sam. Pops loves you, baby girl.
I mean, I go back to one. I forgot exactly who was playing, but there was a horrific injury to the leg. I mean, you could see the guy broke his leg, and not only that, the bone was protruding out of the skin. That's how bad that leg break is, and it was on a routine play.
We talking about Alex Smith?
I believe so.
Alex Smith broke his leg with the Washington Redskins at the time.
Oh, it was a basketball game. No, it's a basketball game.
It was a basketball. Okay.
It was a college basketball game.
So it's a college basketball game. Okay.
And it was so gruesome that the cameras had to turn away from it. It can happen in the blink of an eye.
That's right.
So a lot of these young players.
I've seen it happen live.
Right.
We all have.
We all have.
We all have seen it. We all have seen it happen live. Especially you guys. You guys have been with me.
You guys have probably seen it more than I. You guys probably seen it more than I have because of the experience that you guys have had in this business.
And
it can happen to blink of an eye. So I mean, I'm not mad. These students are like, hey, I'm putting my body out there. I'm risking my, my career, my well-being. I should get at least some sort of compensation for it.
And here's the other thing that no one will discuss. Where's the insurance?
Yeah.
That's a whole different conversation,
You're right.
You're
right. Conversation,
yeah. He's absolutely right. But think about it. Especially with football, you have someone that suffers I'm trying to remember his name's on the tip of my tongue. Marcus Lattimore, South Carolina, suffered a gruesome injury at Tennessee. That was one of the few games where I saw the training staffs from not only both schools, but local training staff come flying into the stadium to assist him. And it was, I take that back. It was at South Carolina. That's when, and it's the SEC. So everyone was insured. Everyone was insured when you have the Power Five conferences, SEC especially, not just included, but especially. What about for the rest? What about for the rest of the folks that don't play in a Power Five?
They don't care because they easily be replaced by somebody else.
Yep.
And you take the human factor out of it. I don't think they care. I think, of course, people who are a part of it, obviously, there's some people who do care. I think the robber barons, again, we said before about the greedy bastards, they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't, because all they want to do is keep the motor running.
Yep.
Keep the machine going for the school. Keep the boosters happy because they do their thing.
Yep.
And get paid. That's it. Skyboxes, and look, it just it just flows champagne all over the place. But it's not about the player athlete or the student athlete. It's about them getting paid. Let me say this before, because I want to get this too, because this has been heavy on my mind. Draymond Green return to the Warriors is the worst move I've ever seen in my entire life to date. He should not be in the building. He should not be in NBA. He doesn't miss it. He should be away for the rest of the season.
And I agree.
They're not going to do that because they know how important he is. But if they really want to send a message, let him sit out for the rest of the season. He can't come to the facilities, can't come to any games, because when he's away from it, he'll miss it. He doesn't miss it. He's saying the right thing because he want to get back in.
But is he going to show he's going to show the right thing? And I don't think he is. And this is coming from a guy who covers the Warriors. I think also with you, Base, worst move ever. Only 12 games, and it's supposed to be indefinite. The soonest I would have brought him back would have been the All-Star break, after the All-Star break, because you want to see what kind of progress he's made. But then after thinking about it, and we have the answer for the fellow who broke his leg, college basketball game, Chuma Okeke in 2019 from Auburn. Thank you, Playmaker. And thank you, Playmaker, for the lifetime research. These athletes are shoved aside, except when you're a big name. And even when you're a big name, you're still shoved aside the moment you're drafted. Because now it's like they're handing you off to the NFL. It's like, okay, now he's your responsibility. He was never our responsibility, which is a lie, which is an absolute lie. I've called my share of college football games. I attended Northeast Missouri State University in 1990, had a chance to hang around the training staff and the broadcast staff there. They were complaining then how unfair it is. And Northeast Missouri State is a small college, which is now Truman State University, Kirksville, Missouri. They play in Division II. So so they're complaining how unfair everything is. And the students in Division I are now voicing their opinion. And let me shout out the one fellow who in 1995 got this whole thing rolling. I want y'all to look up the name Ed O'Bannon. Played at UCLA. And right after they won it all, he started voicing, and it was an EA game that came out with his likeness on it. That started the whole ball rolling. Ed O'Bannon. And again, this is after they won the national championship. Where did they play it? Seattle, Washington, in the Kingdome. And going back to the money roaring in since '82 at the Superdome. In 2000, beginning in 1997, they started holding it in stadiums where they can seat at least 40,000. And you know the ticket prices are out of control. There because it's an exclusive event. Beginning, I want to get this right, 1997, they started holding it in places where over 40,000. And then I want to say 2010, they started holding it in places that can seat over 70,000. And they're not making money hand over fist. That event alone could fund the entire season. And not only that, because you're talking about billions of dollars being exchanged. Billions of dollars being exchanged. You don't think you can take care of the students? Take care of their insurance? Take care of them? And slip them a little something, say, hey, you put your body on the line, here you go. Because going back to a point that Base made earlier, and it's a wonderful point, how many of these kids are going to wind up going pro anyway?
Not a lot.
Even if they do play for a Power 5 team or a Power 5 school, who's going to go pro? Who's going to go pro and who isn't?
I don't know if it's out there documentary wise, but I would love to see a documentary about student athletes who didn't go pro, who had potential to go pro and did not. We may see it in pockets sometimes about if they go back, say, to UNLV, and they'll highlight the big names and then other players who didn't make it, something like that, or University of Houston, something like that. But it would be nice that in a one format, potential greats who were bound to go pro and didn't, because those stories need to be told.
And you just got my brain rolling with that, because you mentioned UNLV, Anderson Hunt, David Butler from that 1990 team. Of course, we know Stacey Augmon went pro, Larry Johnson went pro, and Greg Anthony went pro.
Right.
For the 82 Carolina team, Jimmy Black didn't go pro. Of course, we know the main names that came out of there: Sam Perkins, Michael Jordan, and James Worthy. University of Houston, Larry Mishaw, did he make it? We know he came out of the University of Houston, Clyde Drexler and Akeem Olajuwon.
Right.
But and Ryan McCarthy just came up with a great suggestion here in the chat. Offer the student athletes contracts similar to the pros, incentives and bonuses for certain achievements like winning conference titles, regionals, national titles, and making All-American. You put the students under a contract, you don't think they'll obey it?
Right.
Knowing what can be taken away?
Right.
Because the pro athletes of today certainly don't care. Draymond Green, hello.
Draymond Green just is that type of person that didn't think it would happen to him. He didn't think he would get his hand slapped the way he did.
He didn't think that he would get caught, number one. And number two, he also thought that he could get away with it as many times as he did.
Oh, he knew he'd get caught. He just didn't think that anyone was going to actually hand slap him. He did not think he was going to get punished for it.
And you know what needs I recently covered a women's basketball game, Iowa and Purdue. Why can't we show the women some love that are putting their bodies on the line also? And what Caitlin Clark is doing to reshape women's college basketball is crazy
and necessary.
And very thank you. Thank you, Victor.
Well, deep down also inside, you still have men who are sexist, who do not believe that women can achieve anything. I hate to say it. They go back to the old slave mentality and drag knuckle mentality. They'll keep them barefoot and pregnant. It's not talked about, but it's in their actions.
Yeah.
So because it's bad form, you come out and say something like that, they're going to railroad you. So you do it in a probably more non-verbal way. It's kind of like one of those people who take something and they'll digest it and they'll do it in another way. Right. So I can't come out and say how I really feel, but through the office and through my actions, through my job and things of that nature, I can get away with stuff like that. And that's what some people do, because you're absolutely correct. There should be an equal level, but as long as you have people who are sexist and want to keep the knee on the neck of women progressing in any walk of life, we'll keep on having this. I'm surprised it got this far with the WNBA, stuff like that. But because of the fact that you have, I'm going to cut you off, I'm sorry. What you're looking at is first of all, the boom of social media and the boom of the fact that everybody has access to it. All this content is out there. So you gravitate toward the content that's out there. So you see more video of women playing basketball or playing baseball or softball, whatever, because we have more content to see. And it inspires young girls to go out there and do it.
Yeah.
Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark last year in the NCAA championship. And everybody wanted to make something about, there's a feud between Angel Reese and Caitlin. No, this is just this is competition.
That was a friendly rivalry.
That was a friendly rivalry. They said they said as such, and I wouldn't be surprised if they duke it out again for another national championship. Okay, they love playing. The women. I've been a fan of the women's game since 1982, when I saw the very first NCAA Women's Final Four, CBS telecasted, and it was at the Scope in Norfolk, Virginia. Been hooked since. I've covered women's basketball for the entirety of my career, high school and college, and some pro women's basketball. I covered the Sky for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And for people to keep spreading the lie, and it is a lie, that the women's game is not as competitive as the men's game, why don't you sit down and take it in and see what you say about that?
And I'll go one step further real quick.
Yes.
No offense to men, but stop hiring men coaches at the WNBA. There should be more women coaches.
Agreed.
Stop hiring the guys.
They
Because
really
they can
should.
go somewhere and get an assistant position or a head coach position and just be pro women. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
And what about the women who desire to be head coaches in the WNBA and are shut out, kicked out, and not given a chance, that actually know more than the men do? Becky Hammond, hello.
Yeah.
That's the crazy
Head
thing.
coach of the two-time champion Las Vegas Aces.
Yes.
That's the crazy thing, because you do have a lot of women coaches who know way more about the game of basketball than most male coaches, and yet they still overlook these female coaches. It's become a huge problem.
It's a big problem. I mean, Victor, you and I worked with one of the greatest women high school coaches in history. Two of them, as a matter of fact, Dorothy Gators at Marshall and Corey Irvin at Whitney Young.
Yep. And I defy any male coach, college or pros, I defy them that they know more about the game of basketball than Corey Irvin.
I dare them. I dare them to come up with that.
God bless the late great Pat Summitt. I mean, she was lights out fantastic. She could have coached pro men. She could have coached in the NBA. Hands down. You could even get her in there fast enough had she wanted to, first of all, had they wanted to make that happen. But again, once I said before, people want to have them stay in their lane, very successful. But she was dynamic.
She was it. She was it, man. When I first got to know through watching Pat Summitt, I said, man, this is the coach I'd love to play for. Okay.
Yeah.
She's as old school. She was, God bless you, Pat Summitt. She was as old school as it got, but she was for her players. You don't see that in men's basketball. You see it in women's basketball like crazy because they know they're operating with a couple of strikes against them.
Yeah.
They're operating with a couple of strikes against them already.
In my head, it would have been nice if Pat Summitt, for example, say in an exhibition game, was coaching men's college basketball team. Say it was assembled.
Yeah.
Her versus Bobby Knight.
Ooh.
Lights out. Lights out. I would have loved to have seen that exchange.
And you put that at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indy, and you bring 70,000 people in easy.
Yes, you would.
Have that be an exhibition game, and I bet you it'll sell out in an hour.
Yeah.
It'll sell out in an hour, and the next 2 seasons could have been funded for all women's sports easily off that game alone.
Lights out.
Which is why I love Iowa women's basketball, because this season in an exhibition game they played against DePaul, and they played it at Kinnick Stadium and sold it out in an hour. When the game was announced, it was sold out in an hour. 55,000 plus at Kinnick Stadium. Don't tell me this can't get.
You really can't.
But they don't want to, because for fear of ego, for fear of, again, like I said before, say it was Bobby Knight and Pat Summitt, for fear of ego, the fact they might be beaten, the men and stuff like that. But you got to get over yourself. I mean, it's one of those things where you won't do it because you want to protect, everybody wants to protect their brand.
Right.
Their brand, their PR, and stuff like that. And the ego gets in the way, and the ego will be crushed if someone's come along and better them that day or night, whenever they played. I think it would be great. I think it would be great if you had those type of exhibitions. But again, you got people who are salty and want to get their feelings hurt, don't want to get their feelings hurt, so they won't do it. Right. But again, that's a punk. If you're secure in your own methodology of how you teach the game of, say, basketball, how you player up your players, and not only teach them to be good players, even to be good human beings at the same time, to be good people. All that encompassing, you should be secure in yourself. But you have too much insecurity running rapid since the beginning of time itself, and this is what you deal with.
Yep.
And it's the damnness of shame, because I think you really get some serious basketball, say, played in those exhibitions. It would be lights out fantastic.
You talk about crossover matchups. I'll give you one right now. Dawn Staley from South Carolina versus Jerry Tarkanian from Nevada.
Brilliant.
Brilliant. You think that wouldn't be a 200-point game?
I miss him biting that towel. I miss that dude,
man. Jerry Tarkanian was one of a kind.
Those coaches just come along once every lifetime. We put them up about Bobby Knight and John Thompson, and they were characters. I mean, they really were characters, despite the fact that associated with basketball, I watched them in a sitcom.
Yep.
If I could.
Right.
You give the right storyline around them. And Jerry Tarkanian was just in that same mode where there was nobody like him. I mean, from UNLV to Fresno State, I still follow that man. That man was just unique. Back in the day, we had a coach at the late great Ray Meyer. Another character. Digger Phelps from Notre Dame. That was the rivalry between DePaul and Notre Dame. These guys were characters. They really were. I'm not saying the characters you don't see nowadays.
Lou Henson, Illinois.
Lou, yes, absolutely.
Yep, Lou,
yes.
Lou Henson, Illinois. Gene Cady, Purdue. And I had the pleasure of meeting both of them.
Gene Cady, no do. There you go.
Gene
Cady was no do.
Listen, I had saying, man, Gene Cady won't talk to you. Man, I was getting ready to walk right by him, and he saw my press pass, and he stuck out his hand, and he says, "How you doing?" We must have sat and talked for 20 minutes.
That's cool.
And there was a game to call. I mean, don't tell me these coaches won't make time. The right coaches will make time for you. Lou Henson always did. Gene Cady did. Chris Collins, Northwestern.
Yeah.
Met him. And the right coaches will make time for everybody. All right. And like I said, we're talking about crossover matchups. Mentioned Pat Summitt versus Pat Summitt versus Bobby Knight. How about Pat Summitt versus John Thompson?
How
about that one?
How about Pat Summitt versus anybody?
Anybody, yeah.
Anybody. I mean, just put anybody on the side of the court. And he's gonna have some great basketball during that time. But it's always right coach, right time. And on another trajectory shift, I don't think the Bears should stick with Uberflux. I don't like it at all. I don't care for it. I think it's a bad move.
It's a terrible
move. Or as one of my friends said, Eberfools. Anything. Uberfools.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
They fired Luke Getsy and 4 other coaches, but they kept Eberfools.
I don't know
why.
It seems like the Bears just waved the white flag for the next year. They said, "We know we're not going to go anywhere."
Next 2 years,
right? We know we're not going anywhere. Let's just
I would have preferred them just to ship off Justin Fields. Let him go, say, for example, Atlanta. He's originally from that area. Let him ball out there. They got rid of their coach there. They got to find a new coach eventually for Atlanta. Let him ball out there, and I bet you his game will improve, because I think to a degree he's handcuffed here in Chicago. He shows,
absolutely.
He shows great stride of greatness, but then he's handcuffed. You can't handcuff a quarterback of that ilk.
You can't.
And so let him go somewhere where he spread his wings and fly. Literally, it could be one of the top, I probably say one of the top 5 in the NFL if he's aligned with the right coach.
And
I agree.
And the right development.
I agree.
Because like you said, Base, he's from the Atlanta area. You can send him there, let him develop there with the young receivers that they have, Kyle Pitts. Okay. And Bijan Robinson. Victor, what have I always said? The one thing that a quarterback needs to lean on, even given that this is a pass-happy league, is a running game. You think he wouldn't lean on Bijan Robinson? I mean, look at what Brock Purdy's doing with Christian McCaffrey. That should tell you everything right there. What did Joe Montana do with Roger Craig for many years? He leaned on him. Give him that, and he's good.
Yeah.
Give him an offensive line, and he's better. Give him an offensive line, and he could throw for 3,000 yards a season. Easy.
And I know it's bad form, but I was really hoping that Eberflus would be fired. I was when they were going through those last few games of the season, I'm like, get out, get out, get out, get out. I was chanting that watching the games. And again, for them to keep him and get rid of the whole offensive coaching staff, I never seen it before. I mean, I'm a casual fan, but I never seen it before in my entire existence being a fan of sports. That's odd to me. I can understand they fired the head coach and get rid of the people that he hired. I've seen that before, but this is extremely strange.
It's just stupid to me how backwards this organization has operated since 1985. Because the Bears had a shot for a dynasty.
Yeah.
They had one shot for a dynasty with that 1985 team. And remember, that 85 team took out the defending champion 49ers in a regular season game. It was the Bears' time. They blew it. They blew it. And the first domino to fall was Jim McMahon when he was lost for the following season with a shoulder injury. Thank you, Green Bay Packers. But the first domino to fall besides Jim McMahon was Wilbur Marshall when they let him walk.
I've had the honor of interviewing Otis Wilson on my show twice, my favorite Bear of all time, doing 55. And I just asked him flat out the second time because, when you meet somebody, just get to know him through the interview, and we talked a lot off mic. So the second time he was on, I got a chance to give more and more personal. I said, look, what was it about Mike Ditka? Because it seemed like, to me, just as a fan, obviously watching, that Mike Ditka had another agenda going. That he seemed that he cared for his players, but I think he really did not. So he told me, going back to Otis Wilson, I think it was also brought in the 85 Bears documentary for ESPN, about meaning Ditka, did not want any players taking any commercial ads or trying to get extra paid because they had to concentrate on the games coming up for the playoffs.
Right.
And it was, I think it was Jimbo Culver and another player were signed up or going to be signed up for Campbell Soup. He told them, no, don't do it. He turned around and took their job, took the commercial from Campbell Soup. Yeah. What kind of rat bastard does that? This is your coach he's supposed to love and trust.
And they couldn't trust him.
No. And then Otis told me the story about one season, he got injured, was put on the IR, and was out for that Sunday. He came back the next Sunday. And so he's suiting up, and Dick is telling him, well, you know what, whatever the guy's name that replaced him last week, we're going to have him start in your place. He said, oh, no, you're not. Oh, no, you're not. No, if you do that, I'm going to sue you, Chicago Bears, the NFL. I got a contract right here. I'm returning today.
Yep.
But just the fact you would park your mouth sideways to tell your star player he's benched, he's supposed to return that day. What idiocy is that?
And Otis Wilson at the time was one of the defensive captains.
Thank you.
He was one of the defensive captains. So he absolutely has a say. If he's due to return, he returns.
I don't get it. And so again, the animosity that's in the locker room during that time, you're right. If everything could have worked out when they won that first Super Bowl, they at least could run like two more. At the very least, two more. Because they were running wreck shop over everybody. Him and the late great, of course, Buddy Ryan with that defense was you couldn't stop it.
No.
You couldn't stop it.
No.
So
because Ryan made adjustments as the season went along.
Absolutely.
He made adjustments.
Coach on the fly.
And you had two of the best running backs in the league, Walter Payton and, of course, Matt Suhey.
Right.
The defense held its own. The offensive line. Here's the crazy part. We talked about the Bears' lack of an offensive line. You know that offensive line stayed together for 10 seasons. That offensive line for the Bears came together in 1984 and held together until 1993.
Good run.
They held together for 10 years. They did not change. They did not change positions. They There were very, very few injuries along the offensive line, left to right. Jim Covert, Mark Bortz, Tom Thayer. Excuse me, I got that wrong. Jim Covert, Mark Bortz, Jay Hilgenberg, Tom Thayer, and Keith Van Horn. Left to right on that offensive line. Didn't change, didn't move. You couldn't change him. You couldn't move him. And there were some who, oh, you could have replaced Margaret. No. Jay Hilgenberg was the starting center for the Bears. Three things you can never live without. Three things that were inevitable: death, taxes, and the offensive line of the Bears staying intact for 10 years.
It would have been a fantastic run. And
it would have been.
On a side note, I hopefully people out there have seen this commercial. So it's a commercial out there running around. It's a lotion. I won't even name it because I think it's stupid. It's a lotion that's being promoted in commercials. You put on and supposed to get rid of body odor. And you've probably seen it. They have various versions of it.
Oh, dear.
And what gets rid of body odor, people, is soap and water.
Yeah, basic as it gets.
Soap and water. I hate to tell you this, but it's soap and water that gets rid of body odor.
Laziness.
Not a lotion.
Laziness of the world.
Not a lotion. If you put on this lotion or any lotion and you feel get rid of body odor, and you're around people, and you have the funk of 40,000 years on you, that means that you need to wash thy ass. I can't make it more plain than that. You need to wash thy ass immediately.
Oh, shout out to the late great Vincent Price for that line.
That's right. That's right.
And that's Chris Bass, folks, joining us as he does every single Friday. Check the YouTube page. The Boom Shakalaka and all of its best will be on that page. I'll be working on it throughout the course of the weekend. You will definitely see this episode there. Thank you, Chris Bass. We love you very, very much. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Always an honor. Thank you for letting me be myself again. Take care.
Take care.
And now, the transporter to Hades, the reformer of hooker whores, and the bronze god, the one, the only, the legendary Chris Bay.
I hate you, Sick Diggy. Bass had a comedy album titled "You Gotta Wash Your Yass for a Reason." All right, Victor. Real quick, let's do our wild card picks and get the heck up out of here. Browns at Texans, 4:30 Saturday. Who you picking?
I'm gonna go Texans on this one.
Yeah,
I see him as being a freight train.
I want. Listen, I know so many people that are friends of mine that are fans of the Browns. I don't think they have enough. I don't think they have enough. The Saturday night game, Dolphins and Chiefs. How bad does it get for the Dolphins?
Which team we had?
Dolphins and Chiefs in Kansas City. How bad is it? I think the Dolphins get filleted.
Yeah. It's gonna be bad. I think the Chiefs are gonna be wanting to chomp at the bit.
Oh yeah,
because they've had such a bad run towards the end of the season. They're definitely going to.
Because the Dolphins should have won. The Dolphins should have won that division.
They should have.
The Dolphins should have won that division going away. They didn't. They screwed it up, and they allowed the Buffalo Bills to sneak in. That's where we're going next. Steelers and Bills. Sorry, Pittsburgh, you're getting run over by a bunch of Bills.
Steelers and which team? See this
Buffalo Bills.
Oh,
Buffalo Bills.
That's a tough one.
No, it's not. I'm picking the Bills. Matter of fact, why don't we do this the right way? And let's just make our picks right. Let's just do this the right way. considering we do all our picks through betus.com.
Let's go.
And we're gonna run through this, and we're gonna make our picks right now. Cleveland's actually favored by 2 on the road. I say take the Texans and take the points.
Take Texas, take the points.
Mm-hmm. Next, we have the doggone it, my phone's messed up. Next, we have the Dolphins and the Chiefs. Chiefs are favored by 4.5. Chiefs, and I lay the points.
What's the next game? I'm sorry.
Steelers and Bills. Bills are favored by 9.5. Good. Give me the Bills, and I'll lay the points.
Bills.
Now, this one, which is going to put a hurting on my eyes. Packers and Cowboys. Cowboys favored by 7. Nope. Can't do it. Give me the Packers, and I'm taking the points. And I'm doing this against my better judgment, but I already know which way you're leaning.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the most interesting game of the weekend, according to some people. Rams and Lions in Detroit. Detroit favored by 3. You may as well make it 33. Give me the Lions, and I'm laying the points.
Do I have to call again?
Quit that. I took a swig of water, dang it.
Sorry.
Last but not least, Eagles and Buccaneers. Eagles favored by 3. And I'm definitely doing this against my better judgment. I'm calling for the upset.
So who are you picking? You haven't said who you're picking yet.
Yes, I have. Eagles are favored by 3 at Tampa Bay. I'm calling for the upset.
Yeah, I'll take.
I'm calling for the upset. The Philadelphia Eagles are finished, and so are we. We're getting out of here. Tomorrow, Browns and Texans. Yours truly, Snowman, having the alternative play-by-play. That starts at 4. Kickoff is at 4:30, and we will have a women's college basketball game this weekend. It will not be Iowa. It would not be Indiana at Iowa, unfortunately, unless something changes. I'll make the announcement right here. Victor, thank you very much for joining me, my friend. I truly appreciate you. Have a great weekend. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. Always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they're simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. We are, and we hope you all are too. And I got to leave right back out. So long, everybody.